Now it's time for Taking the Mic. Now, you might say it's been a bit of an annus horribilis for the BBC these last 12 months. They've had the Gary Lineker tweeting scandals, where he repeatedly appeared to breach their online guidelines for social media use. They've had countless accusations of bias in the news, particularly when it comes to covering the conflict in the Middle East. And only yesterday, one of their own employees was caught up in the Princess of Wales conspiracy vortex when she claimed that the recent pictures of Kate weren't actually her. And we haven't even mentioned Hugh Edwards yet. Not a great record, is it? Add to that the furore over the increased cost of the licence fee and TalkTV's very own investigation into the hounding of vulnerable people by debt collectors for not paying it. The public's view of the BBC has never been lower, and that view is obviously played out in real time by the figures. Millions and millions of people are deserting their radio stations and television channels, and the percentage of people who trust the BBC for their news output is now in single figures. All the more reason, you might think, why the top bods at the Beeb might think this is a good time to reflect on where it has all gone so wrong and why so many people are now just giving up on the state broadcaster altogether. Well, as you might suspect, if you thought that, you'd be wrong. Tim Davie, the current Director General, appeared before the Culture, Media and Sport Committee today to answer accusations that the BBC had ceased to be impartial and that the public had lost trust in the brand. Here's what he had to say.
Overall, we're doing a good job in terms of delivering impartial coverage amidst enormous pressure. One of the things I talk a lot about is 70% of the world now does not have a free press. The polarisation in society is profound. So any institution like ourselves to steer the course amongst the noise, the storms of social media is very demanding.
No, you didn't mishear that. He actually did say he was proud of their output and that overall they were doing a good job in terms of delivering impartial coverage. I'm sorry, Mr Davie, but I would beg to differ. Exhibit A. Only yesterday he had to apologise to Richard Tyson Reform for referring to them as a far-right party. Exhibit B. Your senior foreign correspondent, Jeremy Bowen, refused to apologise for falsely reporting that Israel had bombed a hospital in Gaza, killing 500 innocent people. And worse than that, he admitted that he didn't even regret getting it wrong. The hospital was not bombed and 500 people didn't die. Exhibit C. You set up BBC Verified to check up accuracy on other media organisations, but Mariana Spring, the chief misinformation reporter, has admitted faking her own CV. And they've been accused of producing several blatantly biased pieces of work this year alone. All in all, it's a pretty dreadful look for the BBC, and I could find 100 other infractions. Meanwhile, nice but dim Tim reckons the polarisation of society and the storms on social media might be making his job harder. Has he ever considered that the way the BBC reported on the Brexit debate 8 years ago? Does it ever occur to him that that might have contributed to most of the polarisation? Who can forget the looks on the faces of all the presenters the night of the referendum result? And as for social media storms, I give you two words, Gary and Lineker. I've got some breaking news for the BBC. Your time is up.